BBC is taking the wrong approach.
Yes, and look what happened to the dinosaurs.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 unhinged question time moments.
68 million people now live in England, going up, UN estimates. At what stage does the panel and people think this country has had enough?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we're looking at the most insane panelists and audience members on Question Time. Let us know if you've ever been in the Question Time audience in the comments. Number 10. Eric Pickles.
How far are you away from West?
37 miles.
And you need 2 houses.
In 2009, the country was hit by the MP expenses scandal, as the British public discovered that parliamentarians had been claiming absurd things on their expenses. Eric Pickles, Tory party chairman at the time, wasn't actually in the firing line of this scandal until he made this disastrous Question Time appearance.
I had to be there. I was
like a job, in other words.
It was like a
He revealed that he'd been claiming a second home on his expenses so that he could cut down on his commute.
I've never ever claimed my full allowance. I have always claimed the amount. I publish them. I've always published them on my website.
He said it took him 4 hours to get to work each day, something London's seasoned commuters disagreed with, seemingly upset that he had to actually go to his very well-paid job from time to time.
Don't you think that's a bit hypocritical?
Okay.
Number 9. Russell Brand stands for Parliament.
The question was, is Britain overcrowded? And do you think I'm wrong? Do you not think?
Nigel, can I not be
do you
more
not
clear,
think?
mate? I
Do
think
you not
you're wrong.
think?
Always outspoken about politics, comedian Russell Brand has been on Question Time more than once, including in this encounter in which he rowed with Nigel Farage. Farage, as usual, went on a tirade about how stricter immigration control is necessary, which Brand wholly disagreed with, pinning societal ills on the country's elite instead.
Stand. Stand for Parliament. If you're going to campaign, then stand. Okay?
The audience was very impassioned by this topic, however, with one bloke saying that if Brand cares so much, he should stand for Parliament and become an MP himself.
I'd stand for Parliament, but I'd be scared that I'd become one of them. I know what side of the
No,
argument.
I'm sorry. You full addiction.
Brand refuses, and eventually the audience turns on itself, with an extreme shouting match breaking out.
Rubbish. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, it's the general public that are standing for him.
Trying to blame immigrants for the cutbacks.
Number 8. Booted. Not every rowdy audience member gets to stay for the whole show, however. If they really can't calm down and allow the panelists and their fellow audience members to have a proper, sensible debate, they might earn the wrath of the presenter.
It's a hung parliament. I'm not a Conservative, so I didn't lose anything. Excuse me.
In this case, David Dimbleby still helmed the show and stepped in when Gina Miller kept getting attacked by one guest in particular.
Even if there is no deal with the DUP, the government can operate because they won.
She was talking about Brexit and was continually shouted at before Dimbleby asked the man to leave.
Now, hang on.
No, we
Listen,
don't.
I think you ought to leave, because...
He picked up his things and was marched out of the studio to raucous applause. Number 7. Bananas. We all like a banana every now and then, but is your desire to see imperfect bananas in the supermarket strong enough to make you vote to leave the European Union?
I was voting Remain, and at the very last minute I changed my decision and I went to leave.
Well, in the case of this woman, yes. She brought up the bananas as a symbol of apparently absurd EU regulations that we'd all be free from post-Brexit.
I go to a supermarket and a banana is straight. I'm just sick of the silly rules that come out of Europe.
In the end, people voted to leave or remain for a variety of reasons, from being against the TTIP agreement to wanting freedom of movement among Europe to be maintained. But we think this woman might be the only person whose vote was decided by the shape of a banana.
It was bananas what did it, was it, for you?
No, it was more than bananas.
Years on, and we're not sure the bananas have changed anyway. Number 6. 4 ugly girls.
The mainstream political parties
sitting up and take notice, but all you represent to me as UKIP is the best of a bad bunch.
Joey Barton, former midfielder and current manager and political commentator, appeared on Question Time in 2014 to discuss UKIP. We were still 2 years away from the Brexit vote and 1 year away from our next election at the time, and Barton had a, shall we say, unique way to say that he saw UKIP as the best option, though he didn't like any of them.
If I'm somewhere and there was 4 really ugly girls, I'm thinking, well, she's not the worst, because that's all you are. That's all you are.
He also rowed with UKIP's recently elected MEP Louise Bors about how UKIP hadn't actually made much progress on any of its policies. Bors lost the audience herself, however, when she criticised his intelligence.
He basically fulfils the mission, doesn't he, that footballers' brains are in their feet? Well, because he's absolutely proved that to me tonight.
Number 5. Philosophy degree. Professor of Immunology Robin Shattuck was on the show in early 2022 and soon found himself rowing with a passionate audience member and self-confessed anti-vaxxer.
I appreciate that, and I've looked at the data myself. I mean, the data I believe you're talking about.
This audience member had detailed notes and apparently had done his research, but not enough research to listen to Shattuck talk about the safety of the vaccine. The killing blow, however, came when the audience member confessed that he'd got a philosophy degree and was therefore qualified to spar with one of the world's leading experts in fighting contagious diseases.
Is nothing he says credible to you?
Well,
given what an eminent scientist he is.
No, sure. No, of course it is. I studied philosophy at university, and I learned that an appeal to an authority is not an automatic win of an argument.
The anti-vaxxer was not for budging, however. If the science disagreed with him, he simply ignored it.
And if we want to appeal to authority, for example, we could talk about someone, say, Dr. Robert Malone, who is the man who invented the vaccine, who suggests that young people, for example,
no,
don't take it.
I don't think he is the man who invented the vaccine.
He was critical in inventing mRNA vaccines.
Number 4. Racist woman.
That we should close the borders, completely close the borders, because it's got to the stage now there's no education.
However many people in the country share this woman's views, we haven't a clue. But her fellow audience members weren't impressed when she launched into a tirade about immigration for a full 90 seconds of airtime. She wanted to close the borders of the entire country and refuse anybody entry, and also suggested that the reason the NHS is struggling isn't because the government keeps making cuts, but because it's expensive to make hospital signs in multiple languages.
You've got people flooding into this country that cannot speak English. I've come from London. In the National Health Service, everything's written in different languages. How much is that costing?
She also says that foreigners using the NHS should be made to pay, which incidentally, they already do. That shows how much research she did.
What sort of country is allowing this tourism to come in? You arrive in a plane, you get free service, you can have your babies, you can just carry on having it all for free.
Number 3. Top 5%.
I'd like to call out Labour as liars. I am one of them people that he will tax more, and I am nowhere near in the top 5%.
In the run-up to the 2019 election, Labour pledged to increase the taxes paid by the top earners in the country, specifically that the top 5% of earners, those earning above £80,000 a year, could be moved onto the 45% tax rate. This made at least one audience member very unhappy, and he brought it up with the Shadow Justice Secretary. He said that despite the fact he admits he does earn over £80,000 a year, he's not in the top 5%.
Hang on, let's just be clear. So you're suggesting you would raise income tax on those earning over £80,000. You're saying that would affect you because you earn over that sum?
Yes.
He apparently had never looked at the numbers to see what the average Brit's income is.
Yes, and I'm not in the top 5%.
I think that is the top 5%.
As of 2021, the average median income in the UK was £31,400 a year, nowhere near 80 grand. Number 2. Iran. Right-wing pundit Melanie Phillips was on Question Time a few years ago to talk about Britain's foreign policy. She said the UK shouldn't even bother negotiating with certain countries, specifically with Iran, and should instead follow a much more hawkish agenda.
A state which has declared for the last 25 years war against us. That is the problem.
The audience booed her relentlessly, calling her paranoid, and she lost it, claiming that the public was being complacent and cowardly.
I was with you. I was with you all the way. I was with you all the way until you said we've got to neutralise Iran, and
It says a lot about Philip's performance on this episode that Boris Johnson appeared to be the voice of reason, arguing that we probably shouldn't try to wipe an entire country off the map for the crimes of its leaders.
You laugh, neutralise Iran, the British audience laughs. How trivial of you, how incredibly ignorant of you.
Number 1, dinosaurs.
We've got a society where people in full-time employment are having to take state benefits, and some of them are having to go to food banks.
During the rail strikes in 2022, RMT boss Mick Lynch appeared on Question Time to talk to the media and the public. One member of the public didn't seem to have a grasp on the situation, however, saying that the RMT should take a look at the dinosaurs as a reason to stop striking.
Do you think the RMT is taking the wrong approach? Yes, and look what happened to the dinosaurs.
One of the reasons rail workers were striking was the influx of new technology threatening to make them redundant and then do their jobs poorly. So this audience member says that workers should adapt to new technology, as the dinosaurs didn't.
Well, they were around for a very long time.
They're not with us now, though, are they?
Years.
This obviously makes no sense. Dinosaurs definitely didn't die out because somebody built robot dinosaurs to replace them that they didn't like.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.